What's going on, everybody? Great morning. Great morning to y'all. It's Thursday morning. What a great day to be live. I am grateful to be here with all of you. I had to go an extra minute or two over here and just to make sure to read everyone's morning greeting over here. They're all so important over here. They're what makes this time so special, and I'm grateful for it and all of you. So that's where we're at this morning. We get to put in another day together. We got over here some Blue Bottle coffee, cold brewed coffee over, a little bit different for me to be drinking. And then we have the brewed Bella Donovan from Blue Bottle over here today. Nope, they're not sponsoring the show. They're just really make really good coffee. Now, so where are we getting into now and how are we going to start this off? I have a chart up here of gold versus Bitcoin. It's not normal for me to be looking with you at a chart of gold versus Bitcoin. I just want to share as we get into it this morning. I just want to share what my current thought process was this morning as I woke up. And I'm looking over here at gold Bitcoin, and gold is up almost 9% against Bitcoin. I'm like, wow, that's attractive. You all know that I'm watching over here in this big downtrend over here, this trend line break, to see Bitcoin really waterfall down from here. So this is an opportunity, right? I see this as like, oh, it's up 9%. I would like to sell right now. I would like to be selling gold versus Bitcoin. Now, I don't have a market to do that. I don't have a broker that an active liquid market where I could personally do that. But what I want you to know is that you could see that. You would say that too. Oh, yeah, that's in a downtrend, and that's pretty sweet. I would like to be selling that resistance or the break of this for sure. That's the high probability trade right there. This looks like a good place for me to be leaning into. And because the way that your mind works, right, that's attractive, that green 9 right now, knowing that we're in a downtrend. Well, the same exact thing is happening this morning on Bitcoin against the US dollar. And you have to think, what would you rather own Bitcoin first? Is it gold or the dollar? Yeah, I'd be very happy to take this trade over here and sell gold versus Bitcoin at this point in the cycle all day long. Just as like the top of the cycle, I'm going to be very happy to go ahead and do vice versa and come back into gold, So, but right now, the dollar, do I think that Bitcoin's going to continue to appreciate versus the dollar or more against gold? Well, of course the dollar, which is being absolutely inflated away. We had a tweet this morning about that. Let's just check in really quick with that. Let me pull that up as I go ahead over here. Listen, wherever you are, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing, getting started here for our live stream this morning. We're going to be going over the markets. We're going to cover everything over here from the indexes. We have the S&P 500, new all-time highs. We have the Nasdaq, also new all-time highs. We have the Dow, new all-time highs, and then the Russell just off new all-time highs yesterday, right? So we'll be looking at that. We'll look at the fact that the dollar is down today, but yields are up. Interesting. And then we see gold down a little bit today. Is that because of the rising yields now? It wasn't like that too long ago. Gold was unchanged earlier this morning. Precious metals coming off a little bit. We'll look at them as well. We're going to look at everything. I want to focus right now, though, on what matters most. And that's what I was talking to you about this morning with Bitcoin, right? And Jordan, you spend so much time, talking about Bitcoin. I really love your analysis, but you spend too much time on Bitcoin. Well, take note, take notes, literally take notes. Take notes about what I'm doing, where I'm focused, and why, right? Now, Bitcoin gets the majority of my attention, but Bitcoin has the vast majority of my investment. That was all calculated and on purpose over here. You can easily see as gold is outperforming Bitcoin today, it looks attractive to sell it, just come in here and step in and sell gold, right? Especially into this area of support. What about the vice versa? As Bitcoin versus the dollar, the inverse, it's easier for your brain to see that's up 10% than for your brain to see that negative number. This is down 10%. But Bitcoin's on sale this morning. It's absolutely on sale. We got right over here, probably about an 18% pullback from the all-time high. Is that correct? No, that's not correct. It's probably about a 22%. 25% pullback, 26% pullback from the all-time high. Beautiful place to step in right now. We've been watching over here. I've been watching. I had that little area drawn over here. If price came back into it, that was the place to pick up. Well, here it is right now. Everybody wanted to buy the Bitcoin up here. And I was like, watch, if we come back down over here, that's where you want to step in to buy. Everyone wanted the corn up here. Reminds me of my tweet this morning. Oh, I just lost it. Let me go ahead and get that back over there. So this tweet this morning says, good morning to everyone, especially those who see the rampant inflation. You have broken out of the matrix. Great morning, Bitcoiners. The corn is on sale today. Bitcoin off 10%, off 26% from the all-time high. It's time for you, well, it's time for me to make sure that I'm aware of what's going on and why. All right, so what else is going on? That's the most important. I know I spend a lot of my time focusing on there. Rightfully so. It is the most important trade. I've said, and rightfully said, first quarter 2021 is when it's really going to start breaking all correlations. And if you don't think I'm going to be paying the most attention to the trade that I'm most heavily invested into, well, then you don't really understand anything about investing yet, do you? It's just the way it is. What about Ethereum over here? We tried to break out over here against this trend line, and you could see that in this case, the breakout didn't hold. We know that breakouts are low probability trades. Breakouts on cryptocurrencies make sense. Breakouts at any other market, whether it's a futures market, whether it's a currency, whether it's the metals, sometimes gold will break out. Sometimes gold will break out. When you're talking about cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin during this phase of the bull market, lots of clean, nice breaks. This wasn't one of them. Price came back in for a retest and then never resumed off of it, back down under pressure over here. This, however, also in a nice area of the buy zone over here on Ethereum. This is a nice support over here. Price coming back, pulled into here. Probably about, what, 33% off its all-time high? Is that correct? Right? No, that's only 15% off its all-time high. Ethereum pulled back after making new all-time highs, 17.6%. By the way, just off of new all-time highs. Do you think Ethereum goes on to print new all-time highs onto intense price discovery from here? Or do you think that it's dumping and it's going back down towards, maybe you could get some at $600, right? Well, it was just trading at $600 and it wasn't even too long ago. It was really literally a month ago that it was trading at that price. No one wanted it. Do people want it now? Well, the people that don't pick it up, in my opinion, at this point in the cycle, they're going to be picking it up much higher. How much room could Ethereum go from here? Listen, I don't have a number. I don't really care, right? Could it go here 5x? Could it go 7x? Could it go 8x? Or even maybe in some highly speculative behavior go 10x from here? Yeah, I think that's all entirely possible. Bitcoin from here at 32,000. Do I think Bitcoin could go, do a 6x over here to 180,000? No, I think it's got an 8x in it. So do I think Ethereum is going to do the same? Yeah, but when I exit Bitcoin, that's the time if you're involved in alts and think about the exit. Don't worry about where the price will be. Don't have price targets. Watch what's going on with the flow. Watch what's going on with the cycle. And that's how you'll stay on the right side of all those trades. Ethereum, Bitcoin over here continues to consolidate. You can see Ethereum continues to be a little bit stronger than Bitcoin. And it looks like over here is the top. I'm trying to get to that resistance. There you go. It looks like over here, this is the resistance that's building. You see a clean line over there. A pullback into the area of support. This is where you'd want it. This is messy lines today, but it is what it is. This is messy lines today. This is where you might want to look if you get the opportunity to pick up some more Ethereum, Bitcoin, if we don't break out here to the upside, and if we break along this trend line over here and come back down and test that area. I want to talk about some other stuff this morning. This is the dollar. Let's talk about the dollar. This is, look at the dollar trading somewhere around over here, right? There's only like two big supports left down over here. We look at this often using my trading view charts. It's nice to get just a different bit of perspective. And you can see that, below here, what happens to the dollar, right? We're seeing all signal all over the place talking about why we're seeing this softening dollar. But why that's happening, we are seeing, and recently, ever since Georgia went blue, we see yields rising because we're expecting a lot more government debt. That debt is going to need to be serviced. It's going to demand to be serviced through higher interest rates. Will the market be able to support that, or does the Fed need to artificially suppress those? Is the whole reason that we have inequality in the world because the Fed suppress it? Is it because the Fed manipulates interest rates? Was that the root cause? Number one. Think about that. So what are they going to do? Are they going to let it go this time and be like, oh yeah, let's just let rates go up? Or are they going to do their best to continue to artificially suppress that, right, through that massive amount of securities they buy each month? They call it QE because it sounds nice. What is it? They print money and buy securities. Oh, they monetize the debt. Yep. They just they say they do it through different places, so it's okay. Oh, so now they got who? Janet Yellen over in the Treasury. Wasn't she used to be the Fed chairman? Yep. Oh, so she's an insider. Uh-huh. Now working directly with the U.S. government. Uh-huh. Oh, what'd she say about Bitcoin? She said it's dangerous, that criminals and terrorists use it. Ah, that sounds like government speak for it, like it's a threat to us, therefore we don't like it. Yeah. Do people launder money through Bitcoin? No, they use the US dollar for that. Oh. Why? Because it's easy. Oh. And what happens when they get caught? Oh, they pay some fines, but they made so much more money it doesn't really matter. Oh, could you do that with Bitcoin? Bitcoin's a public ledger. Everything you do on it is known. Oh. So terrorists don't use the Bitcoin for money laundering, criminal activity. No. Is Janet Yellen going to be able to stop Bitcoin? No. If she could, she wouldn't call it, help that it's taking the place of the U.S. dollar and laundering money and funding terrorism. She would just do whatever needs to be done to stop it. Governments have already understood and known they can't stop Bitcoin. Could they stop Facebook Lira? Yeah. Mark, get over here. It's time to testify before the Senate. What's going on? You're launching. You can't find Satoshi. You can't bring him in. So there we are. Where are we? Well, there's a lot I wanted to look at. That was just like I caught up on the US dollar. Let's go back to the dollar. Oh, the dollar. By the way, none of this is politics. This is just what's happening. If anyone thinks that this is politics, then I'm sorry. It's not politics. It's what's going on in the world. We need to talk about what's going on in the world. We're going to do that. I'm on the 8-hour time frame. You might be wondering, why, Jordan, are you on the 8-hour time frame? We cover so much that I often forget to explain things. In the link below is a description over here. Jordan, you're a machine. I love it. Just started trading about a month ago. Why do you use the 8-hour time frame? What's the advantage over the 4-hour time frame? I did this video back in February of 2020 on why the 8-hour time frame is the best. The link below, I'm not going to play it now. It's a short video, 6 minutes. It is a powerful video. By the way, I was doing this stuff, there was no followers on the channel at all when I was putting out this work. It's really, Heath is doing the same thing. Heath on Trade Talk, putting out amazing content, teaching people about Forex. That the knowledge being put out in those videos is absolutely worthy of your time. Check it out. The link to this video is in the description below. Do check that out as well. That's going to really help. I want to cover over here first before we get into the charts and the good stuff. I want to talk about over here. Do I have any thoughts on the 1-year ratio versus hold charts? People holding Bitcoin for over a year or longer. We have looked at this in the past. We looked at this back, if you remember, this is back in June of 2020. Oh, by the way, let me finish my last thought. Going back over to that video that I just showed with you on the 8-hour, that was February 2020. Around that time on this channel, we saw what was happening with the virus around the world. And not only did we see that, not that February, we saw that a month earlier in January. It's all on these videos, right? So I was one of the first, before anyone else that any of you know, over here on this channel, we were looking at the situation in the world and we were seeing how that was going to impact, the markets. Who else was doing that? We had food prepared, right? We had made sure we had, essentials, medicine, whatever. We talked about it. We were prepared for what happened. So I feel like right now I could also, being that I was one of the first to understand the effects of this virus on the world and the markets, I think that I probably should have a say in talking about what I see going on right now, because it's not politics. It's the virus. Remember? Right. So what's happening now, and this has been known for a while, the PCR tests. The PCR tests are set too high. Fauci said back in January, when we were following all this stuff in January, he was like, listen, you know, in the history of all viruses that are spread through respiratory, never has asymptomatic spreaders been a cause of this spread. Yeah, you could get like that rare case, but they've never been the cause of a spread. We've been testing all these asymptomatic people with a high PCR test that gives all these false positives, right? That's now the New York Times, a couple of months ago put out an article explaining all of this. But now today the WHO is confirming all of this. The WHO is saying, yes, if you have it set above 30 with someone not showing symptoms, it's going to give you a false positive more often than not, right? So now we're going to see the cases drop way down now in these next couple of months. What's that going to mean? I don't know. I don't know what that's going to mean, but I do know by probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to see drastically lower cases. We'll see how the market interprets that, and that's what we'll be following. So, so I'm looking at the comments really quick, and everyone is saying, well, everyone knows that the PCR tests don't work. Yeah, we all know that. And we all know that there was no flu season in 2020. I'm a data guy, right? You guys all know that I look at charts. And I'm looking at this chart over here, right? And I've been saying this to friends and family for probably about 5 or 6 months now that this was going to happen. Here it happened. You could see the flu cases in 2020 were down sharply. You know why? Because people were practicing washing their hands more, practicing social distancing, and wearing masks. Oh, so then how come the flu disappeared? Because the flu, that really spreads. I don't know. Oh, but we had all these false PCR tests. Yep. So now that flu season's over, there's no way to get the false positives. We're going to see the COVID cases come real down way fastly and sharp, and then we'll see what happens next and how that affects us. I don't know. I don't know what the case is going to be. The spammers are back, by the way. Someone this morning impersonating me on YouTube. You could see that the Conquer Trading and Investing is not highlighted in gray. I will never, ever, ever share my phone number with you. I mean, we try our best to get rid of that stuff, but, it's out there and it happens. What else do I want to talk about really quick? Oh, BlackRock, by the way. BlackRock, the multi-trillion-dollar biggest asset manager in the world. BlackRock, like inside Fed active agent. BlackRock just filed documents with the SEC that they are now going to be engaging in, have the ability to buy Bitcoin futures contracts. So what do you think of that? Right? The 1-year HODL. Back in June of 2020, I was talking about as we got over 59-60% over here on the ratio of the amount of people on the chain. This is like on-chain analysis. I like it a lot. And it's saying that over 60% of people have been holding Bitcoin for over a year. That included the drop down, by the way, when the price of Bitcoin over here, imploded to 3,800. Oh, but Jordan, it's reckless to say you have your stop at 0. So that's what it is, right? I wrote this out. I wasn't thinking of selling. I was buying more. I understood exactly where we were in the cycle on chain, how many more months to the next halving, what that was going to do, what that was going to cost. And I'm going to have the same awareness on the top side as I did on the downside. So I'm going to be exiting when it's time to exit. And everyone else is going to be in like, no, Bitcoin's going to be the world reserve currency. You can't exit Bitcoin. All right. So what else? So now you see it dropping over here as more and more people come into the market. You see the amount of people holding Bitcoin for a year or longer is dropping. More people are buying it. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. First of all, it was healthy on the upside. Once you get to a place where you have over 59-60% people holding Bitcoin for a year or longer, that's usually when you're going to see price. What's the beginning of the bull market cycle? It's the beginning of the bull market cycle. Does that have anything to do with the fact of that halving event? Probably. That's exactly the cause of it. All right. And then you see it start falling as the price of Bitcoin. Here it's falling during the 2017 bull market run drastically, and price is snapping up, rising. This is an indication to us over here once we start cruising below 45% of people who have been holding Bitcoin for a year or longer, saying it's time to get out of here at the cycle top. So this is a great stuff. I prefer. I've tried a couple of times to look at Glassnodes, who puts out some on-chain analysis. I tried a couple of times, and it doesn't fit me. I don't like it. I really like looking to Bitcoin.com. There's a lot of charts over here, whether it's the 1 year hodl, the R hodl ratio is another thing we're going to use for the top of the Bitcoin bull market over here, and also the pi indicator. So 3 indicators on this website that I really value and like a lot. So look into Bitcoin, some good stuff over there. But yes, do my thoughts on it. I hope you're watching this, Andy. It's not going to be really possible for me to tell you that we just covered your question over on the YouTube video. But if you had that question, other people have that question, and it's a good question, right? So Jordan, really appreciate your unmoving faith in Bitcoin. Might you explain why it's important to have multiple different email addresses for different exchanges? Listen, it's just security 101. If you have money on an exchange such as exchange XYZ, right? If you use a different email to sign up than every other exchange on your primary email, it's a lot harder for someone to even know what that email is to try to log into your account in the first place. So that's just like security 101, really good practice. So I've been following you on YouTube in my spare time over the last 6 months. Trading as a hobby has improved so much with your advice. Thank you. Keep up the good work. I'll sign up for your classes. I will be signing up for your classes. Considering the advice you gave me has made me more than the cost of the program you have. Looking forward to joining the team at the end of the February. That's awesome. And absolutely. Another question. Listen, I've been following you since you had 15,000 subs, Jordan, and was wondering if you had open slops in your trading courses. I missed you. God bless. Frank, just thanks for the reminder. It's not possible for me to keep up with Twitter messages. It's not that I'm not answering your message. There's no way I could even see them all. So what I'm able to see, I see. Thanks for getting that in front of me again. Programs are opening and thriving much more than the public side, which is outstanding. And it is absolutely phenomenal what we share over here. It's absolutely not only outstanding, it's phenomenal. But it is true. The course, the people inside the course, that more intimate layer of CTM is thriving beyond belief and way better. And that's that. Over here on the DXY on the 8 hour, what a tangent off the 8 hour over there, right? Off that 8 hour, you could see that we were tracking this trend line. Over here, we were wondering right here into that resistance, whether that was a retest or we're going to come back into that channel. Closed outside of it, and then have started resuming off there. Dollar weakening, but the dollar's back to sideways. It's sideways. You know what it reminds me of this period over here? It reminds me of that period right over here. This was the end of August or beginning of August. We started going sideways on the dollar, and it took a while before we made that leg down. But now we're sideways again. And it's just important to be of your awareness. We've kept everyone watching out for this important area over here, that trend line of that channel. And now we have that area of support, and we're consolidating between the two. It's really nice having that type of clean awareness. The US dollar, I would have to say, next to Bitcoin, has been the asset class that we've crushed the most, been all over. Think about it, the dollar and the Bitcoin. All right, what else are we looking at this morning? Gold, let's take a look at gold. We're going to come back on the 8 hour. We're going to look to step back. Gold looking very nice over here. You can see that last bit of resistance trading above it, now pulling back over here. And it's time now. Gold looking very, very healthy, making higher swing highs over here. And it looks like we're starting to put in swing lows. Let's see if that continues. On silver, into the resistance over there at 26, rejected. 26 was a number that I looked at in the past a lot, right? Coming into that resistance again, getting above that towards that bullish phase over here. Now, the question why you're in that channel, though, is, right? Are you more cautious up here as you get towards the top of the resistance? Are you more aggressive down over here, looking to buy over here into this area of support? Or do you wait for the breakout on silver to really start riding the momentum? Those are the questions you got to ask yourself. But right now, I mean, if you were interested in silver, right now is the time. Is this time you want to get into it? Was that enough of a pullback for you? You could see the pullback like that. I don't know. I can hear by my voice. If you're not in it now, I'd be waiting for a cleaner entry. Bitcoin continues to rise against gold. Continues to rise against Bitcoin today, coming into an area over here that should provide resistance. The flip side is happening on Bitcoin against the dollar. The dollar is way down, way up against Bitcoin. Probably a good time to lean into the corn. What else are we looking at? Let's go into the FX markets, see what's going on across the board. I want to start with, though, and see what's going on with the US dollar, Japanese yen. Just mix this up a little, trying to continue to focus what's going on with this struggle, this battle that I'm seeing developing between the US dollar and Japanese yen. It's been consolidating right now for a while. This is going back till June. You can see it consolidating in this tight channel over here. Is the dollar going to be able to break out versus the yen, or we're going to see the yen put in a new leg down? We're going to be finding out soon. So we're going to be finding out soon. Right now, you could see prices coming in and being rejected right here by that resistance. A resumption off could be the entry. Now, neither is strong, though, right? Neither is strong compared to other currencies. We can see that weak Japanese yen. You know, these two are fighting out who is weaker. That's really what they're fighting. Let's look at some strength, and seeing that right now, well, I can't tell which is weaker, the US dollar or Japanese yen. Understanding they're both weak, let's look around. Let's see what's strong. The pound US dollar has been one of the strongest, has strongest trend to it over the past couple of weeks, ever since the new year and the Brexit deal in the past. You can see price right now coming into an area of resistance. Let's look at this on a daily time frame. Just to step back over here, and then I'm going to come down to even a higher time frame, the 3-day time frame. I'm going to focus in on over here because I'm going to focus in on this multi-year trend line that we're breaking out of over here. Huge bullish look over here. They're going back 13 years, 14 years, finally breaking out. Big deal over here. Going to come in, zoom in. You can see this bit of resistance above us. Definitely not interesting to me right now, right? If we get another pullback testing this breakout of this trend line into this support zone over here, that will be a place this becomes very attractive. And again, breaking out here further, you could see the line though. You could see this, right? So you don't want to buy into that, right? You can see that channel that's developing right there. You don't want to buy into there. Get above there, and right, maybe even run as high as to 143 before seeing a pullback. And then that might be a place as you consolidate to get into the pound US dollar, but very attractive to watch. What about versus the Japanese yen? Let's see what's going on there. Let me come back to that 3-day time frame just to give you a bit of a heads up. So one thing that I noticed yesterday on the live stream while doing my analysis with you was that it was multiple pairs. We'll look at the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, that had this trend line break occurring. Here it is in the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. You could see this is a 2-year trend line break, just breaking right now. If I back up, there should be a trend line right over here. And let's put that in. The reason, so that's far away. All right. Is that the line I want? You know what? I don't know the angle of the line I want over here. So what I want to do is this. I want to find out the angle that I want. So I'm going to go over here. My eyes are focused right there. And then I'm going to come back over here. No, that doesn't work either. I can't find a clean line for this. What I'm trying to do is find a clean line that I could then go ahead and clone it to get the rest of the lines. But I don't even see a clean line right now. So therefore, I'm just going to focus in on what's going on over here in front of me, right? This is a 2-year line over here. This is clear to me. 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch. If I'm cloning it, I only need 1 touch. But over here, I could see that we're breaking above that. It's going to take me somewhere over here. I have horizontal resistance over here as well. Let me get that in. Let me go ahead and just put that up over here. The reason I'm showing you this is because it all makes sense in my head. And I want it to make sense in yours, right? And I want to... So nothing. This is a great question. I'm glad that my eyes just were drawn to it. I don't know why or how. But no, listen. The idea is to learn how to make money. If you're thinking about that, like you have, whatever sum of money you have to start with, investing, and that you need to make big bets in order to turn that into big money. Unless you know, the only big bets you can make are bets that you are really, really convinced of. Otherwise, you're going to lose your money, right? Otherwise, when George Soros, when the Quantum Fund traded against the British pound, right, and the quote unquote broke the Bank of England, right? They went in hard. Stanley Druckenmiller was the one who came up with the trade, and George Soros, who's working for his fund, was like, no, you got to go in much bigger. You got to go in really big when you know what's going on. People say, or people, just a year ago when Bitcoin was trading at 9,000, and I'm like, yeah, I'm all into Bitcoin. I'm all into Bitcoin with over half my net worth. People are like, that's crazy, right? Now it's up. it's up fourfold, and people are like, oh yeah, you talk about Bitcoin too much. Oh, yeah. So yeah, that's the mind frame over here, Graham. People are asking about lots of different miners, Bitcoin miners. I don't, I have no idea. I think it's an extraordinarily competitive industry. You need not only the lowest cost of energy, you also need the best chips, right? So unless you're making those chips yourself, I don't know if there's two public companies people talk about often. You guys are probably familiar with them. If you're hearing this and you're listening, then it makes sense to you. I don't know. I'm not focused at all. I understand that people are interested in different plays within the equity markets on Bitcoin itself, right? Would other people buy the Coinbase IBO if it comes out? Perhaps. Do you invest in MicroStrategy or do you invest in, GBTC, QBTC? Yeah, there are many options. I just don't know. What else are we talking about? That's what I'm talking about. Here we go. We got Mara and Riot. Those are the two. Yeah. And listen, there are people who knew way better than me. I don't know. I imagine right now in the bull market that it's a question of rising tide. Bitcoin lifts all boats, and that includes everything about the space, not just altcoins. All right. So pound Japanese yen, I noticed the Canadian dollar Japanese yen is pretty far from that trend line, even though it's breaking out of that small one over here. I'm looking here at the pound Japanese yen, and I think it's tracking this trend line over here, this resistance, right? From here to here seems like a good move. The pound has been strong. I think it's lagging versus the Japanese yen compared to other currencies because of all of the uncertainty that it was facing all of 2020. And I think now more people, especially right now while the UK is on lockdown. Think about it. The UK is on complete lockdown, and you're seeing the pound appreciate versus everything. Got a lot of strong signal over here. I think it's one of the best opportunities in the market, right? So you got to follow what's going on the 8 hour and see when you could get in. If you're looking to get in, you're not in yet. You can see it here on the 3-day. It looks very clear, right? Coming back down to the daily, right? We got to get above this resistance right now. It's just out of play, and that's the hardest part of trading is when you want to be involved in something, when you want to enter something, but there's no opportunity because then you just got to sit back. So I have this still blue because I'm watching it, but it's not there right now. What about the euro versus the pound? We were seeing that important breakdown and now resumption. Very, very, very important. Let me come back to the daily time frame with you. We're tracking this huge channel over here, right? And then when we bursted down below that over there, we said, all right, now watch out for that support, that line of hope. If that breaks, that's the opportunity here to look for the pound, the euro British pound. Now, everyone saw how long it took for that trade to develop. It took a long time. You have to have that type of patience, and you have to pick the setups that you believe offer the best opportunity. Now you can see over here, here's one entry over here. Now, that's exactly what entry would have been during the London session, right? Hold on, it's right at entry right now. Am I saying people should go out there and buy the pound versus the euro? No, I'm just showing you what I'm seeing on the charts, and I'm making it all make sense to me. And if it makes sense for you too, then it makes sense. Or if it doesn't and provides you other sorts of clarity, then that's all good too. But this works for me, right? So I'm going ahead here. I know that's now turning into resistance right now. Where do you put your stop loss if you're entering this trade? The most important question you would be asking as you enter this trade, because there's no way you could manage your risk if you do not know where your stop loss is, right? You don't know what your position size could be. A couple of things to look at over here. There's over here, that last bit of resistance. Is that where you place your stop loss? That seems like the most reasonable place to me to put the stop loss in this case, right? We got a lot of momentum. We're seeing breakdowns, a little bit of consolidation, another leg down. We're looking here not for market to be uncertain and chop around. We're looking here as it's breaking this big level of importance over here. If price is going to go ahead and start to appreciate in the favor of the pound, we're going to come in over here to this area of first bit of resistance. Should be support right now pretty quickly. So if the momentum's there, the momentum's there. Here's the entry happening right now. That's why I would have a tighter stop loss on this. And again, everything that's shared here, everything that's shared here is absolutely outstanding. It's true that the more that those that have taken the CTM course, Conquering the Markets course, and are more involved in that deeper community, that's absolutely, that's special. you know? Boom, 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 boom. So what else is going on? I wanted to go ahead and keep looking over here on FX. What I'm seeing is pound Japanese yen, euro Japanese yen really have perked my interest over here. What about the Australian dollar Japanese yen? Continues to run versus the yen, commodity currency over here. Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar. They continue just to consolidate, right? So if I'm smart, I would only be picking off on the downside of that. Over here, as we're into the resistance, if we get a breakout, retest, and resumption, that opens up opportunity here on the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. But right now, she's consolidating out of favor. Reminds me a lot of what's going on gold and silver, and it could get ready to go at any moment. I just want to reiterate right now, as Bitcoin is on sale this morning, right, that this was the buy zone that I had gone ahead and was looking at earlier in the week. I know everyone wanted the Bitcoin when it was up here, right? We were like, well, either you're going to get the breakout, and then at that point, that's a good trade. That's the high probability trade where we're going to come back down into this pocket over here where that's probably a good place to lean in. What about New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen? Let's move forward to it over here. All right, we just looked at the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. With that in mind, I want to look over here. It's very clean, right? Should this be concerning over here that you're putting in a lower swing high? No, I'm not. That we got to give it a little bit of time and a little bit of room over here. That's for sure. This looks entirely healthy over here as you continue to come down and test this area over here. Any areas into that looks like a good place to lean in and buy a resumption off that nice area of support. New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen looks like that is also getting set to continue towards the upside, but that's not green flagged right now or even close to it. Let me check it on this. This is the New Zealand dollar, US dollar breaking out over here, breaking out to the upside of this little small. This is on a daily. I'll come to the 8 hour. I could see just much clearer on the 8 hour than on the daily. And I don't know why I got focused over there on the daily. Over here, you could see that we've broken out of this descending wedge over here into the first resistance, looking now for that pullback and or consolidation. That continues to be green lit. So with that in mind, let's look at other US dollar pairs over here. Not much to say on the US dollar, Australian dollar, US dollar. It did break again once again. You could even, if I clone this in my mind and put it over there, you can see that's now forming the new support. That looks a lot like what you're seeing happening on gold and silver, specifically silver right now. Let me just put the silver chart up so you see exactly what I'm talking about. You know, and that's what you can't see what I'm talking about if I'm thinking it in my mind, right? That little support there you're seeing on silver, which is higher than that trend line, is the same thing that's occurring right now over here on the Australian dollar, US dollar. So place to lean in and buy a resumption off there. Looks really good for me. I'm going to watch this one as well. All right, so US dollar looks like the places where I'm finding the most active opportunity. The euro I know has been lagging. What does that mean? What does that mean? The euro's been lagging, right? Does that mean that it's breaking out of this trend line over here right now? It's a little steep, but you can see it happening. And now making not only that, a higher swing high. Is this a place to lean into the euro versus the dollar? Had the euro fallen out of favor, but now that the ECB is out of the way, ECB, it was not even, can you imagine what a non-event that was? That laggard? Oh, that Bitcoin. You ever notice that Bitcoin is in all the central bankers' head right now? How awesome is that? All the central bankers, all these, whether it's Christine Lagarde or Janet Yellen, the women at the helm over here, they got Bitcoin in their head. They're shook by Bitcoin. So anyway, is this a time right now after the ECB a non-event is out of the way to go ahead and step in over here to the euro US dollar? Maybe they don't. It definitely does. They don't look as strong as the Australian dollar or New Zealand dollar commodity currencies to me. They don't. But are we seeing? Is the euro US dollar going towards 125 next? Right? And is this the last pullback until we come up towards 125? Maybe. Good chance. Good chance. Right? You know where your risk is. If you're wrong on the trade, you get out. Right? You have to decide. You can't take them all. You have to decide what you think is the best one. Best two. That's where you're focusing in on. Right? What else? What else? Any more US dollar pairs for me to take a look at? And just let me revisit the pound US dollar. So not so funny. I see the opportunity against everything else but the pound is the strongest. Are we going to get a melt out outside of this channel over here on the pound US dollar? I don't know. There's no entry for me. So can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. You got to do whatever the market is showing you. How many likes do we have in this morning? I haven't asked anyone for a like, right? But I do support each and every time you go ahead and smash that like button. First of all, when I see the thumbs up start like popping up, it gets me really amped up, motivated to go ahead and dig in deeper to this beautiful world that we share and share more with you. It also really helps the Google algorithm, right? Some people get really upset for me asking that I would have the audacity to ask you for a like or even cover Bitcoin, but that's what I do. So I appreciate that. Joshua, the course is a collective, group collective. We do training sessions once a week that are live with just course members. We have one in 45 minutes from now, this Thursday in the morning. Those are actually recorded, so if you can't be there live, right? Everyone else is asking really good questions. We're covering really, really interesting stuff, and that's all available to you as a recording, as well as every other past training session. The amount of knowledge, wisdom involved in this course is if you're familiar with my work, you're familiar with my work. And then the community itself is just absolutely as tight as can be. It is what it is. Everyone's familiar with the Conquering the Markets community. It is a standalone anomaly on the internet. You know, and it's beautiful that we share in it. So we got. I feel like I covered everything I need to cover with great clarity and effectiveness. That's good to feel. We're gonna cut this short since I do have to prepare for that training session. So I'm gonna hang out though for another 10 minutes or so and just see what's going on with you, and we'll just take it like a Friday free flow, light. Now that we've put in all the hard work and know where we are. What do we got over here? Iron Chopper's Iron. Thanks, brother. Thank you so much. Did I notice that the last pattern let me look at it. In July of 2017, that's something I'm very interested in. That I'm up 5%, yet down $100. I'm assuming it's because of Bitcoin. So one thing just want to explain first about Bitcoin is you can't have a position in Bitcoin. You can't have the right position in Bitcoin unless you fully understand Bitcoin, right? You either have no Bitcoin or you have some and then realize you don't own enough, right? But you can't hold it through these little like fluctuations unless you understand Bitcoin. Spend your time. There's so many available resources. Go to the Investors Podcast. Every Wednesday, they started doing a Bitcoin episode about 5 or 6 weeks ago. Go back to their first Bitcoin episode on a Wednesday. Watch that intro to Bitcoin. It'll definitely change your world. The amount of information that's available today is just, it's beautiful. A lot of people could get into Bitcoin and learn a lot about it really quickly. You said July of 2017. I'm going to be coming on the daily time frame just to get out over there. So here we got into July. And then let me go ahead and click that auto button. And here we are into July of 2017. Right. I remember this was oh, no, I take that back. I thought we were talking about that over here. All right. You're up a little higher after price went on to make that new all-time high. Price doubled, right? From the last all-time high, price doubled in a month. Does that sound familiar to me? Price more than doubled in a month here. Yeah, we just went from $20,000, $19,000 in December to now 30 days later, and prices doubled. That's very familiar. And then what happened? We had a big pullback, but then resumed out of it, right? Are you more focused in on what's happening over here, perhaps? This triangle pattern. This looks like the current state of Bitcoin that we're in right now, right? And in this, we melted down before boom, right? We melted down. So what does that remind everyone of? This reminds everyone of this on a bigger picture, this fractal over here. This is a famous one that everyone's familiar with, right? This was during the great bear market of Bitcoin when it was doing the same wedge and broke down. And then what was that? Right after that, shortly after that, that July 2017 fractal on Bitcoin that you just pointed out to me is the same exact as this one, just playing out over a longer time frame. Now you're wondering, are we back? Here it is again. Here it is again, but this time it didn't recover as quickly. See, this time it didn't. This was the crisis. That was the crisis. I don't think this happened if we didn't have the dollar liquidity crisis, but it was real and it happened. Bitcoin went down to 3,800, right? So now we're back to here. Are we seeing a similar thing take effect where we're seeing this wedge develop? It's a little steeper. Normally those other wedges we looked at were a little bit longer. Okay, so they don't have really the same fractal, the same attributes, but similar. Is it possible we break down? How far will we break down? Would it be something like we saw back in 2017 where it was very brief and then very sharp up? I would think so for sure. Very similar places in the cycle. When I say similar places in the cycle, I mean that occurred at the similar amount of blocks until the next halving and after the last halving. So very similar price action at a very similar time. If we go off the all-time high over here and find some resistance over there, do you think that we're going to pull back? I mean, 24,000 would be a 42% pullback. Is that possible? Do I think we'd pull back further than that? I don't think so. I genuinely don't think we would trade under 24,000. I think that is really kind of like worst case scenario at this point. And it could happen. Will it happen? I have no idea. We'll keep watching. Great. I'm glad you brought that up and we got to dig into that. Very fascinating stuff. I love it. I know everyone gets focused, just like myself. I forget to ask you to hit that like button because I'm so focused on what's going on the charts. That's why thank you for when you remind each other. Thank you for doing it out of love and desire, not because I simply asked you. But I am reminding you only because I forget, you forget, and it really helps, makes. All right. Still the Bitcoin show. Bye, guys. Yeah. If this is the Bitcoin show for you, this is the Bitcoin show. I call it the Master of Trading show. That's what I like to refer to it as, the Master of Trading show. Like, buckle in, you're about to learn something new. But if you think it's the Bitcoin show, then hey, I guess you didn't buy the corn when I was screaming, listen, here's what's going on right now. Bitcoin is cheap. Here's where I'd see it going. Jordan, $160,000. You put out $140,000. Bitcoin's trading at $7,000. Bitcoin's trading at $5,000, Jordan. That sounds absolutely ridiculous. Ah, all right. Well, yeah. So, some heard, others didn't. All right, everyone. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. I'll see you all in about a half hour. I'll send out the link for those in the Conquering the Markets group, and we'll continue doing this then. All right, everyone. Have a beautiful day, and I'll talk to you soon. Let's go out with some music. So, but by the way, Pure Vita, thank you, brother. Thanks for getting that spammer over there. It's so annoying. I'm trying to focus in on you on the comments, and that we got people spam the chat. I apologize for all that. I am with the great help, the amazing help of a lot of people, part of the community, help with all of these spammers and scammers. But it's a lot. It's a lot to keep up with. So big heartfelt thanks for all of you doing your just helping make this community better. Grateful for all of you. Have a beautiful day, everyone. I'll talk to you soon.